Good morning to one and all. I'll be speaking on artificial intelligence as a novel indicator for progression in keratoconus. I have no financial interests. So normally what we come across is that we see multiple parameters. We're looking at whether it is topography, biomechanics, demographical profiling of patients presenting with keratoconus. But can we actually make sense of all of this? That's where AI comes in when we're having multiple data sets. And in trying to find associations between these multiple data sets is where artificial intelligence can play a role. So normally human mind really cannot combine multiple of these indices, and we are normally focused on the ones we are more comfortable with. Human mind thinks about indices or parameters we are more comfortable with, and that's where artificial intelligence can play an important role. So AI works in parameters which obviously are not the obvious ones. And there are various classifiers which we have used in our study. The one which I am demonstrating and showing it now is known as a random forest classifier. There are other classifiers as well, one being the neural network, one being the support vector machine. So these are the various ways of utilizing data and classifying data. The one we have used in our study is a decision tree classifier. So what we wanted to do, what was our main aim, is can we use artificial intelligence which help us in predicting keratoconus progression? And our main objective was to use not only topographical parameters, it also included demographics. So the question was, can we use indices which we commonly get in a topographer plus demographical factors and high risk factors which predispose a patient to progress in keratoconus? That's what we wanted to look at. So one aspect was utilizing Pentacam, and the second aspect was utilizing something known as a questionnaire. So we gave a questionnaire to all of our patients who were any patient who walks into the OPD and is diagnosed as a keratoconus gets a demographic profiling. This includes presence of eye rubbing, parameters such as vitamin D, IgE, the type of eye rubbing, presence of systemic allergy, hormonal disturbances, etc. So this is a way of how we profile patients at each and every visit. So we included 450 patients who are diagnosed cases of keratoconus. And also we did a subset analysis of 200 of those who had a full demographic profiling, which included the high risk factors, which I just enumerated. Now, what is important is all of these parameters which I've spoken, which is either imaging indices or it is the high risk factors, are plugged into the AI. Now, one aspect of artificial intelligence is obviously training the artificial intelligence, and the next aspect is testing it. So we use the same data set, 80% of which was used to train the AI and 20% of which was used to validate it so as to make the AI a more robust AI. And like I said, we had used a random forest classifier like I have spoken about. So we've divided the results into two aspects. One is what did artificial intelligence pick up in terms of just the indices which we got from the topographer, and what about the factors which we got from the high risk factors. Now, surprisingly, using many of these imaging tools such as the Pentacam, artificial intelligence was able to demonstrate and predict 83% of patients who are actually progressors. And what is important is that many of these indices which were picked up were curvature based indices or aberration based indices. Many of the commonly looked at indices, if you're looking at BAD-D, were in fact not picked up. So a combination of asymmetry indices, curvatural and aberration derived indices were used as classifiers for the artificial intelligence. Now, high risk factors, it's something which is very important, which we normally do not focus on, is that we classified these patients into progressors and stable and looked at only the demographic questionnaire with which we gave the patients, and we found that it did classify progressors and stable with a good accuracy. But surprisingly, factors like vitamin D, which we normally don't think of, was picked up much higher up. Now, this is the classification parameter and majority of the indices which we have picked up based on the ranks. And over 98% or 98.5% of the progressors were classified as progressors with just using these high-risk factors. Now, even in aggressive progressors, we had done a subclassification where patients who had a progression of more than 2 diopters Kmax over 6 months, IgE, which is suggestive of a high level of allergy, was a useful parameter. So there are useful indications and associations we found out The important being that, a patient, for it to be called a progressor, the AI looked at vitamin D and Ig. A combination of these two factors is what was important when we're looking at progressors. When we looked at stable patients, very, very interestingly, 100% of the stable patients had a combination of IgE less than 145, vitamin D more than 23, and them using immunomodulators and lubricants and no systemic allergies. So this is in fact the first paper which looks at integrating artificial intelligence with both indices, imaging, and demographic factors, which can help us in making diagnosis of keratoconus more robust and also detecting progression earlier. But there would be certain limitations. Imaging is obviously a useful tool, but it has its own challenges. A faulty detection. So quality of scans is always a prerequisite before we actually proceed with utilizing those scans. And right now we are not in a state of predicting the exact period of progression, which is a work in progress. Thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you, doctor. Anyone is asking any question?
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Panda.
Yes.
Good morning, Garik. So I'm Dr. Somshila here, and because we had some dropout in the judges, so I'm working as a backup judge for this session. Dr. Panda.
Yes.
So if I can ask Garik a couple of questions.
You can ask.
Yeah, Garik, the first question I had was a good paper. How did you rule out confounders? Because you did say vitamin D3. So the confounder being that if you look at a cross section of Indian population, so you will have a lot of people deficient with vitamin, especially the study population you're looking at, which might well turn out to have a lot of people who are indoors due to their profession and so on.
Correct. So what happens is AI itself, when you're looking at fitting in these parameters into AI, that itself tries to rule out majority of it. So I'm not sticking on to just one parameter as a discriminant or looking at it whether the AI was utilizing that. AI is finally for a combination of parameters. That's the reason we pulled in a lot of things. If you're looking at Ig, if you're looking at IRA being present, systemic allergy, hormonal disturbances. Yes, Indian population has a prevalence of the vitamin D being on the lower side, but this was just one of the parameters plugged in, and whether an AI could utilize this in addition to the other parameters, and a combination of which was what we wanted to arrive at.
So what is the disadvantage you feel when you want to take this to clinic?
Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't get you.
What would be the chief disadvantage of using an AI module if you want to recommend that this can be started in clinic?
Well, obviously experienced clinicians would be able to, first go by their clinical acumen. This is just an add-on tool. For people who are starting off, they should not base their decisions completely on an AI. Is what I would suggest. So technology has its own pros and cons. It is obviously with a pinch of salt. We obviously want this as an add-on tool, but what sometimes can happen is that you are sometimes blocking out your own clinical judgment and just going on what the AI is telling and basing your treatment on that. So that is something which when we do release this as a plug-in tool, is that it is an add-on tool. This can never replace a judgment of a clinician. That's really never the intention.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you very much.